So I don't know about you, but every webinar that I've attended online just looks like a bad Zoom calls. The picture is pixelated, people keep dropping in and out, and the audio is pretty bad. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build a professional looking webinar from scratch just using one tool. And by the end of it, you're going to have something you're proud of and something that looks highly produced. And this is for marketers, creators, small teams. You don't need a big production team for this. And so this video is partnered with Riverside, the only online platform you can host, record, and edit your entire webinar in one place. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, the link is in the description. So most tools are designed for meetings, but not content, and it shows. And the result is you're stuck with low production quality, and whatever happened live, you're stuck with at the end. There's no way to edit it. What we actually need is something that looks quality, has our own brand on it, records well, and can give us endless possibilities within the edit. So all I'm going to do is jump on over into my Riverside account. Okay, so here we are within my Riverside dashboard. And if you're paying for the webinar package, all you need to do is hit schedule, and then you just need to hit new webinar. So I'm going to schedule something out here, and this is going to be a webinar I delivered before, AI search, the new way to rank top of Google without using ads. So the next thing you need to do is think of a date that you're going to be able to deliver this comfortably on. Give yourself a few weeks to prepare and a date that suits your audience, and then a time. Think about the time zone of your audience. Try and set it out to, say if I go 6 p.m. If your webinar runs about an hour, I'd probably say give yourself an hour and a half, just a bit of buffer time. Then add a description that clearly describes exactly what you're going to be covering off in your webinar. Okay, so once you've done that, now this is the important bit, inviting guests and speakers by their email. So if you have the emails that you want to invite as a panelist with you, then this is where you put that. Then a registration form. You can either click on a direct session link or actually click on a registration form, more on the registration form in the next window, and then play a pre-recorded content. Now you can actually upload a file and play a pre-recorded webinar, but in this video I'm going to show you how to do this live. And then live stream destinations, you can then select if you wanted this to go just directly into Riverside and share that Riverside link, or if you wanted it to go across to any of your socials as well as hosting this in Riverside. So I'm just going to leave that off and just click create webinar. So what that's going to do for me now is just going to create the webinar. You can either add it to your Google Calendar, copy that registration link, or simply start webinar. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the audience and then the registration, and then this is the registration form. So you can see here, you can have the title, the description, hosted by me. You can have custom registration form fields now. So first name, last name, email address. If you wanted to collect any more details about anyone registering for this webinar, you can add it here. And then you can either grab an embed code, so you can either host it on your own website or an API request. And then you can put some of your custom branding on here. So I'm just going to grab some branding of mine. So the first thing I've done is I've just grabbed a logo for myself. This is my avatar. And then if I wanted any specific background, I could put that up there. And then the color, you should know your hex color for any of your branding codes now. So I'm just going to grab mine. Now that's my light blue logo in there, and then show Riverside logo. This is entirely your preference. You can either show the Riverside logo or not. Then this is the important bit. So email confirmations, I would probably remind people 1 day before and possibly 1 hour before. And if you wanted to follow up after the event or follow up to anyone that didn't register to actually show them a replay, you can toggle on all of these. I would probably update all of these and click save. So at this stage of the game, you can preview the registration page. So this is going to pull through any branding that you had, the AI search new way to rank top of Google without ads. This is the date, hosted by me. It's given a quick description, and then it's going to collect some fields. So this is what you share to those people registering for this webinar. So it's up to you what fields you capture. So let's go back to the overview. So that is all scheduled now. Once the date arises, you can then simply return back to this page here and click start webinar. Okay, so before you enter the studio, you can actually see all the feeds that you're going to pull through now. So this is me using my camera. So this is my 4K camera. That's the one I want to select, not the camera from any of my computer. This is my Rode Podcaster version 2. And then any speakers, I'm just going to use my default MacBook. So this is me, is the host. And now you should click here if you are or aren't using headphones. You might want to use headphones if you are doing that webinar. You just click I am not using or I am using and then join studio. So now we are in the studio and I'm just going to click on the cancel button here because this is if you wanted anyone to co-create or co-present with you, that's what you're going to invite them to. So some of the buttons down here, bottom left is record. You have a mic, making sure that it's there, camera, speaker, any reaction buttons, your audience has a chance to react, raise a hand if they want to ask a question, and then you have the layouts. Now, if you do have a script, you can have a teleprompter or a script that you can upload into here if you're reading off any of this. And then the share button here, you can either share a presentation or share screen, or you can just leave the webinar once you have finished. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to actually share. So I quite like this layout. And if you wanted to share some slides here, you click on, I'm going to share screen here and then click on this slideshow. So I'm going to click start slideshow, go back into how this looks on Riverside. So if you wanted to go through your slides in this fashion, you can then just click on whichever layout you want. I would probably say this is a good one, or maybe the next one here, depending on how you want to show up on camera and how many slides you have to produce. So before I hit record, then I'm just going to talk you through some of the options down the right hand side. So you can manage people in this bar here, you can mute people, you can add participants, hide participants. So if you had multiple presenters in this webinar, you can then invite them here. This is the people tab. The chat tab, this will show you how many people are on board in your webinar so they can actually ask a question or raise their hand. Then this is the brand. This is again your brand logo, your background, how you want this to actually present, and you have a brand lobby as well. And then any text that you want to, any overlay text that you want to send links, or if you want a link to download a free guide, this is how you put that in. Then we have any of the media that if you wanted to add into your webinar, and you can upload your own media here. So that is the right hand sidebar. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and hit record as people are rolling in, you then present your webinar for however long, always have questions and answers at the end. And probably the best bit about Riverside is it records locally, then records up to the cloud once you have finished recording. So it's got some of the highest quality audio and video that you can get all up to the cloud. So then you can edit everything after the fact. So I'm just going to go ahead and click record. And now this, as you can see, is going to count down, count me in as I've make sure I've got people inside the webinar, and then I would start presenting. So as you can see, this is a Riverside webinar that I presented for the community in August of 25. So I would welcome everyone into the webinar, go over what we were going to be covering in the webinar, and maybe ask questions at the end. So once I have gone through that process, as you can see in the top right hand corner, it's saying 66-70% uploaded. So it's not fully uploaded. Once you stop recording, thanks everyone for joining the webinar. We'll follow up for those of you that didn't attend. You can hit stop. Once that has stopped, you can see it's uploading. It's asking me how the webinar was, how the session was. But as soon as you see 100% completed and uploaded, that is when you can exit this studio. And don't exit this studio until that is 100% uploaded. Then you can go over to your project. So I'm just going to click out of this now and go to my projects. And here we are in the Riverside studio. So this is where the magic happens. This is all in the edit. So if you wanted to go and edit your full video, you can click into here and it's going to take you up into a full editing suite where you can position. If you had multiple speakers here, you can do text-based editing. So if you can edit a Word doc, you can edit a video here. You can then click the scene, the layout. If you had multiple speakers, I have done a full review on the Riverside text editing feature. And once you're happy with this, you can then export all of this. When you share it, make sure you then export the video into it's actually recorded 1080, but you can actually record it or export it in 4K video. So I'm going to head back into the Riverside project. So here you can download anything you want from this recording. So you have the tracks you can have from all participants. You can have just the screen share in HD. You can just record or download the slides. The speakers, you can download those individually, or the transcript, or copy the transcript or share it out to your audience. Now to the right hand side, you've got Co-Creator, which is an AI tool from Riverside. You can create thumbnails, magic clips, or Instagram captions. This is how you then repurpose this content multiple times across socials or across other platforms. So if I just click thumbnail, it's going to give me a few examples of what you can use and how you can create your thumbnail. So I wouldn't say these are the finished article, but they certainly give you a start of a 10 or something to go from, a bit of an inspiration on how you can create thumbnails for this content. More suggestions down here. You can actually click in magic clip, promo trailer, social media images. There is endless things you can do with this AI, but it just helps you create the content and multiply that once you have recorded the whole webinar. And once you have actually delivered a live webinar, you can click on the audience and see the registrants, the live attendees, the attendance rate, average time in the session, and the duration, just to get a little bit of an idea of the analytics and how well your webinar has performed. Any areas of drop off, you can then make a note for that, and then you can edit your next presentation. So there we have it. You've just created, recorded, edited, and repurposed an entire webinar without leaving that Riverside dashboard. So very quickly, those steps, then you schedule your webinar within the Riverside dashboard. You then go live and hit the recording, making sure all of your settings are to your likings. And then after the fact, you can edit and repurpose however much you want with the Riverside tool. And by the very fact that Riverside is trying to do everything for video webinars, you may be thinking, well, it can't be the best at every single one of those functionalities. Now, this may be true, but it depends on what you are used to and how many tools you're willing to learn and duct tape together to try and get this finished article. I'd recommend you to go through this whole process with the Riverside tool and just have a look at the finished article and make a decision for yourself. So if you've stayed all the way to the end, something must have piqued your interest on this Riverside platform. If you want, take it out for a spin. My link is down below. You can get the best deal possible. Just click that link and open your account today. And in my next Riverside video, I'm going to cover how to host a pre-recorded webinar. So if the idea about going live for the very first time is too daunting for you, why not try pre-recording a webinar and then going with that pre-recorded webinar at a date and time of your choosing. So hopefully that makes sense and this video has provided you with some value. I look forward to seeing you on the very next one.